She believed you were permanent, no matter how distant she became, no matter how cold her replies got, no matter how many times she tested your patience, you were still there.
You answered, you showed up, you reassured. In her mind, your loyalty was guaranteed. She never feared losing you because you never gave her a reason to.
That comfort slowly turned into complacency. She stopped valuing your effort because it felt automatic. She assumed your love had no expiration date. And when someone believes you'll never leave, they stop being careful with how they treat you. They take longer to respond. They cancel plans without guilt. They stop putting in effort because they think your presence is unconditional. But here's what she didn't realize. Even the most patient man has a breaking point. Even the most loyal heart gets tired of feeling optional.
You weren't weak, you were committed. You weren't desperate, you were invested. There's a difference. The shift happened quietly. You didn't announce it. You didn't threaten to walk away. You just started pulling your energy back. You stopped over-explaining. You stopped over-giving. And for the first time, she felt something unfamiliar, uncertainty. Because when the man who was always available suddenly isn't, it shakes everything. She wasn't scared when you loved loudly.
She was scared when you loved less, and that's when she realized you weren't guaranteed, you were a choice.
And she got too comfortable thinking you had no other options. She expected chaos. She expected long paragraphs.
She expected late night calls asking for closure. She expected you to fight for her attention the way you always had. What she didn't expect was silence. When you didn't text, she checked her phone more than she'd ever admit. When you didn't react, she wondered if you were pretending. When you didn't beg, she started questioning everything she thought she knew about you. Because silence is powerful. It doesn't argue, it doesn't defend, it doesn't plead, it simply withdraws. And that kind of response is confusing to someone who anticipated drama. She was prepared to win an argument, not lose access.
She was ready to defend her actions, not face your indifference. Drama keeps a connection alive. Discipline ends it.
By not chasing, you shifted the power dynamic. You showed that your attention wasn't a reward she automatically earned. You demonstrated self-control, and self-control is intimidating. It says, I value myself enough to walk away. That's what truly shook her confidence. Not anger, not jealousy, but your calm detachment. When a man stops chasing, he stops feeding the ego that thought it had control. And that's when doubt creeps in. She started wondering who you were talking to, what you were doing. If someone else was appreciating what she once had, your silence wasn't weakness, it was growth, and growth is louder than any emotional reaction ever could be.
The real shock wasn't that you left. It was how you left, quietly, gracefully, without bitterness. Instead of trying to prove your worth to someone who questioned it, you started improving your worth for yourself.
You focused on your goals, your health, your mindset, your peace. You stopped chasing validation and started building value. And that transformation hits differently. It's one thing for someone to walk away broken. It's another thing for them to walk away better. She expected you to feel the loss more deeply. She assumed you'd struggle without her presence. But when she saw you glowing, calmer, stronger, unbothered, that's when reality set in. You weren't losing, you were upgrading. Your confidence became quieter but stronger. Your energy became selective.
You didn't need to post for attention. You didn't need to prove you were happy. It showed naturally. That's when she realized something uncomfortable. You were never the one lacking. You were the prize.
She thought you'd come back because you always had before. She thought missing her would pull you in again.
But growth changes a man's standards. And once standards rise, access becomes limited. Some men return out of habit.
But some men evolve. And when a man truly evolves, he doesn't go back to what once underestimated him.
He moves forward, refined, focused, and aware of his value, because the biggest revenge isn't getting even.
It's getting better.